Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by, and welcome back to Jack Ryan January. In anticipation of the Jack Ryan series from Amazon Prime that should be released sometime in March, I'm taking it upon myself to review all of the Jack Ryan movies that have been released up until this point. And today I am covering the third installment of the Jack Ryan movie franchise, Clear and Present Danger. While investigating the murder of the U.S. President's friend, Jack Ryan is promoted from analyst to deputy director of intelligence after his boss and mentor is diagnosed with terminal cancer. Ryan is drawn into Washington politics as he discovers that an illegally authorized covert war is being waged between the U.S. government and a Colombian drug cartel. Jack must now battle through bureaucrats, barons, and brinksmanship in order to expose the cover-up and how deep it goes. Guys, I just gotta be honest. Clear and Present Danger is awesome! Man, this is basically a lot of times when people think about Jack Ryan movies, or Jack Ryan as a character, they either point to Hunt for Red October and this movie, and wow, I read some things about the Jack Ryan series, and they're saying that basically they're taking much of the influence from Harrison Ford's time, and I have no doubt this movie is a major influence on that. So why do I feel this strongly about this movie? Well, for one, I don't know if you guys do know this, but I do actually admire and kind of like politics for some odd reason, because as much as it annoys me, the game of chess that's played is actually fairly intriguing. No, I'm not. I do as much as I can not to basically talk about current politics or my political views here. But I think some of you guys might have guessed what they are. But be that as it may, one thing about politics is that not only could it be frustrating, it can get pretty boring when it's effective. One of the things about this movie is the way they describe politics as a different animal, especially Washington D.C. politics. They do it in such a way that it's quick, to the point, and you can actually see why people get frustrated with politics so much, and unlike some other movies which, have political themes and they go through the process, it can be boring, but this movie does not make it boring at all, nor does it linger on, technical jargon that can basically steer away the general audience that would only intrigue political junkies like myself, In addition, this is the movie that Harrison Ford really does act like Jack Ryan from the novels. Though I am going to harp that, I still feel that Harrison Ford, while a great actor, is a bad choice for the character because, and as bad as I hate to say this, it's mainly due to his age, which I will get into in the AA of this movie. Another thing, despite my feelings about, the Harrison Ford as Jack Ryan and the Harrison Ford Jack Ryan movies, one thing that I could definitely take away is that the villains in these movies are amazing. In the last review, you saw me praising Sean Bean portraying Sean Miller. Well, here we have multiple villains. We don't have just one main major villain. We have quite a few, We have basically, the drug cartel kingpin Escobar, played by, Miguel Sandoval, an amazing actor, such an underrated character actor. And we have basically his, intelligence liaison, Felix Cortez, portrayed by Joaquin de Almeida and everything. And I probably mispronounced and butchered his last name, and I'm sorry. but Aldemir and everything is also awesome in this, and he really does come across like a convincing agent because like he has those great looks and that charm and that swagger and everything that's very subtle that can actually easily be like a chameleon in any environment, which is awesome, you know. But we also have the villains within basically, you know, our own political system. We actually have, you know, one of the best standouts, and I can't pronounce his last name, but Henry Senzenzar, I can't pronounce his last name, but he actually plays Bob Ritter. Now, you'll hear me talk more about the difference between Ritter in this movie compared to the novel, but, you know, one thing that I have to say is Ritter in this movie is excellent. You know, he's got that, like, basically, like, intelligence, uppity connivingness and everything that is, like, you know, basically will, like, you know, rat you out in a heartbeat, but will also like, you know, try to, like, use you to get to his way and everything, and this guy portrays it excellently, you know. In addition, we have two other governmental figures, which I am not going to spoil in this review because basically you should really see this movie, but all I gotta say is you definitely see how you get a great feel of how corrupt Washington, D.C. can be, and it's a great parallel for this time period, and especially, like, you know, for the past couple of presidencies, with a lot of the conspiracies that are coming out and how some of the presidents will appear one way in a campaign or on TV, but another way, you know, behind closed doors. In addition to that great villains, you know, one of the things is, like, basically, this is in its heart an espionage film, and while it's an espionage film, you're getting a very fair balance between, you know, the cover-up, the mission, the politics, and the action in this. You know, all are balanced so remarkably well and everything, and it doesn't drag, you know. One of the things that, like, you know, I kind of noticed about Hunt for Red October, despite me really liking that movie, there are some parts that do drag, but but it's like really minor and everything, and it's hard to tell. But here, nothing drags at all. You are greatly engaged in any and everything, and plus the musical score in this, while I have to say is not as impressive as Hunt for Red October is, it is basically a step up from Patriot Games, you know, because you get that patriotic feel, but it has this underlying patriotic feel, but, like, you know, basically the sinister side of patriotism. And to top it off, you know, this actually, like, you know, displays how basically the U.S. government was very much involved in the drug trade, you know, because one thing that I actually get frustrated about, people talking about how they really can't stand drugs, and people talking about the war on drugs and everything. Listen, the whole thing about drugs and everything coming into the U.S., the government was responsible for that, and they did a lot to ensure the flow of illegal drugs here. Here, we see how the U.S. government has both done that and tried to cover their tracks with doing so. I can go for hours and hours and hours talking about this movie. You know, we have a great cast in all, you know, like I said, Jack Ryan is back. I mean, Harrison Ford is back as Jack Ryan. You know, I already talked about Miguel Sandoval and Joaquin de Almeida and everything, you know, but we also have the return of James Earl Jones, who's in his last performance in the Jack Ryan series. You know, we also have, I'm surprised that I saw this chick in here. It's Belinda Monroe and everything. If you guys ever watched the George Perez show, that's George Perez's mom and everything. She's a DEA agent in Colombia. It's like, what? Really? Wow, and everything. When the action gets going, when there's, like, you know, an action sequence and everything, the action sequences are awesome. And to top it off, Willem Dafoe as John Clark. Now, if you're a fan of the novels, you know who he is. If you're a fan of Rambo 6, you know who he is as well too. But William Dafoe, perfect casting for John Clark, I gotta say. You know, this is like, you know, this is a character they hit right out of the gate perfectly. And to top it off, we also have Raymond Cruz. If anyone doesn't recognize that name, he is like, you know, the Hispanic detective that you've seen in that show, The Closer and Major Crimes. You see him very young, and he is excellent as, whatchamacallit, Ding Chavez. You know, so we got an excellent cast. We have an interesting plot, you know, great espionage elements, awesome score, awesome action, you know, all around, and a decent adaptation, which I will get into in my other video. But, guys, let's be honest. I'm going to say this, and you can see this coming a mile away. But clear and present danger is amazeballs. Do you agree? Disagree? Drop me a comment below. Give me a like. Follow me on Facebook at Token Dave, or on Twitter at TokenDave80. Subscribe, and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this has been Token Dave, dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. I'll catch all of you later.